Boom. Now there's audio. Okay, cool. Um, what's up, crew? We'll just start it from the top real quick. Hope you guys are doing well. Welcome back to a little agency therapy. Stoked that you're here today. And we got a lot to cover in a little bit of time. So we're gonna hop right into it today. But if you guys don't mind, hit the like button, hit the subscribe. Would appreciate it. Goes a long way. Help us reach more people, get this information out to more people for free, baby. Free 99. That's where we're at. So hope you guys are doing well. Hope you had a great 4th of July weekend. Hopefully a nice long weekend for you. Got a little bit of rest, relaxation, spend some time with the family. So, but let's hop into it today. We're talking meeting structures. I've seen meeting structures be run very ineffectively, very inefficiently in the past with a lot of the organizations that we work with. We don't run too many meetings inside of our business. We kind of kick things off pretty strong at the beginning of the week. And then from there, like the meetings really taper off. So we try to hold as few meetings as possible inside of our business because at the end of the day, meetings are a very expensive thing for your team to do. If you had your whole team, say, had a team of 20, uh, it's going to be very expensive for you to hold an hour meeting. That's 20 hours of work being done if you had a team of 20 all meeting for an hour, right? So we try to limit how many meetings that we have. I'm going to show you guys a few of the basic meetings that you should be holding inside of your business. This is not all the meetings we hold, but this will give you a good foundation of how to hold very effective and efficient meetings. So, real quick, leave a like on the stream, subscribe if you're not subscribed yet. Would love to have you around. We do these every single week, every Wednesday, 7 p.m. Central Time. Would love to have you guys come back for all the trainings that we do. And what's great is that we're actually going to be posting ahead of time from now on. Okay. So we're going to have all of the live streams scheduled. So you know exactly what content is going to be posted when. We have roughly the next 2 weeks of live stream thumbnails getting dropped this week. So you guys will have a good idea of what the next topics are. You can put it on your calendar as well. That way you can remember to come to a lot of these meetings. What's up, Tom? Tom, I just saw your message on Instagram. It was super kind, man. I shared it with the team as well. They were super appreciative of it. So good to see you at the live stream, man. Hope you're doing well. Sweet. So let's kind of cover meetings for a quick second here. Okay. Like what's the objective? What are we kind of looking for when running great meetings? Well, the first thing is definitely going to be setting a clear objective. Okay. That's going to be one of the most important things that I think can help turn your meeting structures around for you guys. Be crystal clear about exactly what you guys want to achieve during these meetings. It's not necessarily to just brainstorm new ideas. It's to make decisions, right? And to make sure that we are coming to a conclusion at the end of the meeting that's going to push the business forward, right? And sometimes we do have brainstorming sessions and things like that. Like me and my co-founder are going out to Utah this week to do like a little founders retreat so we can brainstorm new ideas and get aligned, right? But there should be a specific objective behind each meeting that you guys hold, right? And so if there's going to be an objective, there should also be an agenda tied to that meeting. So you want to make sure that you have an agenda prepared. It's really the backbone of any great meeting that you guys are going to hold is having a good agenda that goes alongside of it. So have an outline of what's discussed, and I'll show you guys a couple basic outlines here in a second. But I want to go over some of the basics of things that we kind of look for inside of great meetings. Okay. Also have in what order you guys are going to be covering that agenda, what's going to be discussed, how long each segment. That's one of my favorite things to do in a meeting agenda. Is hey, this segment should take 10 minutes. This segment should take 20 minutes, right? And I'll show you what that looks like here in a second. But this also gives your participants of the meeting ample time to prepare for those segments as well. So they know if they have to own a certain part of the meeting, they can come well prepared for that. Okay. Number 3 is just kind of keeping it focused, right? You got to respect everyone's time at these meetings. One of my rule of thumbs is like if someone doesn't participate in a meeting, chances are they shouldn't be there. And this has kind of been spread around by a couple of people. I think Hermosi's talked about this. A lot of people have talked about, hey, if you're not participating in the meeting, you probably shouldn't be there. So if it's not relevant to that person or the meeting, right, it shouldn't have a spot at the table. Okay. And it's not anything to like disrespect anyone, but if they're not contributing to the meeting in a high level way, they shouldn't be there. Right. Um, which kind of leads me to my next thing is like, hey, participation is mandatory, right? To have the most effective meeting possible, one person shouldn't be leading the entire meeting, right? You'll have someone that leads the meeting, of course, make sure it stays on track, but At the end of the day, whoever's involved in the meeting, right? Everyone should have a part of like the decision making process. Everyone should be participating at a certain level. And if someone doesn't participate, once again, they shouldn't be there. Okay. I also want you guys to be mindful of like the time it actually takes to run meetings. We're going to try and minimize the amount of time it actually takes to run meetings. We're going to try and do the most in the least amount of time. Because once again, if we have a bunch of people in on a meeting, it's expensive to run that meeting, right? 5, 6 employees at the same time. That's 5 or 6 hours, right? Because each person is going to spend an hour at that meeting. Now, we only hold one 1 hour meeting per month inside of our business. Everything else is anywhere from 15 minutes to 30 minutes, right? So we have to utilize that time. And basically, what we do is we use Parkinson's law of like, hey, we give ourselves this allotted time, like 15 to 30 minutes. It's like we have to fit the meeting structure inside of this. And it has to fit inside of this. And what happens is we end up making the meeting work inside of that. And then maybe there's some follow up that we have to do along the way. But when it's all said and done, when we're actually finished with the meeting, we've gotten exactly what we wanted to get accomplished. Okay. So be mindful of the time. And then from there, if you guys need to, be able to summarize some of the key points talked about in the meeting and send it out via email or Slack messages, any follow ups that are kind of needed, you guys can go ahead and do those as well. So hopefully that's making sense. Let me know if you guys are chilling in the chat and this is making sense so far. Give me a little thumbs up or a little 1 or 2 in the chat. One of those things. Okay. All right. So from there, I want to share my screen, guys, and just kind of give you some basic templates that you can utilize inside of your agency, and I'll provide these to you guys afterward as well. That way you can bring these in. And if you guys are using ClickUp, you know that a lot of what I build is inside of ClickUp, so you can rip these templates directly. But I'll make sure that I provide these for you guys in the live stream, and I'll add it to the description for anyone watching the replay. But let's go ahead and share screen for a hot second here. We can jump in. If I can find it, hold on. Okay, here it is. All right. So hopefully you guys can see this. Basically what I just ran through was this first part. So if you're like needing a recap on like how meetings should be structured, there's a nice little recap here for you guys, and I'll share that with you. But here's kind of like a basic internal meeting template. So if you're gonna run any meeting and one of these templates that I'm gonna share with you doesn't cover it, this is kind of the basic meeting template that we utilize inside of our businesses, right? So a couple things that you're going to notice here. One, we're going to title the meeting, of course. We're going to have a date and time attached to it, and we're going to have a location. Now, most of the time we're meeting on Zoom, but sometimes you guys have physical locations that you're meeting up at. So if there's a physical location, just make sure it's put there. And then a list of participants after that, right? So we want to make sure that anyone that attends the meeting, they are part of that. And normally on Zoom, this is really easy. You're just inviting them via email, and they're a participant of that meeting, right? And then what the objective of the meeting actually is. So define what you guys are actually aiming to do by the end of that meeting. And then from there, you can set your agenda. So agenda can look very simple, right? So it's like, hey, item one, whatever the topic is, who's going to lead that specific segment? It could be you, could be one of the people on your team, what the objective of that segment is, and then the time allocated for that. Okay. So what's the goal that you guys are kind of trying to achieve through this first segment? And then from there, we just copy and paste. Okay. And we continue listing that agenda and all the items needed until you guys are done with that agenda. Okay. Now, once again, we try to never do meetings over an hour. Um, Normally people's attention spans just don't last that long. Okay. So we're going to try and keep meetings. Our cadences are usually 15, 30, and 60. We only do one 60-minute meeting per month. Everything else is going to be 15 or 30 minutes. Okay. Now, preparation that kind of goes into this. This is kind of any materials or data. So if you guys are doing like, say, like a sales monthly sales review of just like numbers and where you guys are at. Okay, well, people need to bring data to that. They need to bring closing percentages. They need to know how many calls were booked, how many calls actually showed up, right? So there's data that we have to be able to be prepared for. And so if you need people on your team to come prepared with data, that's going to happen here inside of the preparation. Okay. Now, roles of the meetings. Okay, we have the facilitator. Okay, this is the person hosting the meeting or holding the meeting. Okay, we're gonna put their name there. sometimes we can have a note taker. We also use an AI note taker for this, so we don't really need a note taker. So AI note taker works great if you guys aren't familiar with like fireflies.ai or Fathom. We use Fathom because one, it's free. So check that out. There's shameless plug there. I mean, I'm not affiliated with it at all, but you can get that note taker. It's really cheap, or it's free. Okay. And then timekeeper, you can have someone that kind of makes sure that the meeting gets moved along, and making sure that you guys are hitting time. So, if you set a 10-minute time limit for this first topic, this person makes sure, hey, it's been 10 minutes. We need to move to our next topic. Okay. So you can wrap this up and you keep the meeting on pace, because if you're the facilitator, you're facilitating the meeting, you're not necessarily keeping track of the time. And then from there, we have next steps and action items. So anything that needs to kind of get transferred over into our into like action items for our team. Well, what's really cool about this, if you guys actually utilize this template and you utilize ClickUp, you can just highlight your bullet point. So like say we dropped a bullet point down here, we could just highlight that, and then we could just turn it into a task, and then you could put it in whatever list that you needed to, which is actually really effective. So that way you can take your meeting notes directly in your action items and then immediately put them inside of your project management software like ClickUp, and then assign someone as well as give it a due date. So that's how we make sure we don't lose track of things like this. We always turn it into a task from our meeting note. Okay. And then from there, we always like to give a little meeting evaluation and feedback. Sometimes there's time for this, but sometimes there's not. But at the end of the meeting, if you have a little extra time, allow for participants to just give a little bit of feedback on the effectiveness of the meeting, areas of improvement, right? Especially if it's something that's ongoing. We always do this during we call it our monthly 60, which is what we'll kind of cover next. But we always do that at the very end of that meeting of like, hey, like, how'd you guys feel about this meeting today on a scale of 1 to 10? Actually, I think we do scale of 1 to 5. Scale of 1 to 5, 1 being like this is the worst meeting ever held on the face of the planet, and a 5 being this was the best meeting ever held on the face of the planet. Where would you kind of put it? And then what areas could we improve on if it's less than a 5? And so remember that this is just a template. You guys can adjust this to suit any of your particular needs inside of the agency. But this ensures, once again, we have a structured meeting, it's clear, and we're following a specific agenda as we're moving through each of our meetings. So hopefully that's making sense so far. If you guys have questions on this meeting agenda or the template or anything like that, let me know. But I'll drop this template to you guys here in just a second at the very end. So you got to stay to the end of the live stream. Otherwise, you're not going to get it. I'm just kidding. You can come back later and get it if you need it. Okay. All right. Moving into the monthly 60 template. So this is the next one for us here. So the monthly 60 template, this is for our full team meeting. Okay. This is everyone on our team comes to the monthly 60. It's just a realignment meeting for our objectives over the next 30 days. So our team works in 30-day sprints. We make a list of objectives across each lane of our business, and then from there, we go and deploy on those 30-day action items. Okay. Now, of course, we have our North Star goals in the back of our mind, but hey, over the next 30 days, how can we move closer to those North Star goals, those big, hairy, audacious goals that we might have for ourselves? Okay. So once again, it starts out very similar to how it was in the basic internal meeting template, right? Meeting title, date, time, location, participants, objectives for this meeting, preparation. Okay. We have a facilitator, note taker, timekeeper. Okay. None of that changes, but the agenda does change, and we have a little bit more structured agenda for this. Okay, so coming through here on the agenda, first thing that we cover is data review. So we have a little P&L review. We don't go over the entire P&L, but we talk about top line revenue, month over month growth percentage, and then year over year growth percentage. From there, we move into projection reviews, projections on sales numbers, specifically for this one, and then what the actuals were. Okay, so for that, we do two. We do projections around our sales numbers, and then we do the actuals, what we actually hit. Okay. And then after that, we go into setting new monthly projections. So leads generated, discovery calls booked, proposal calls booked, offers made, new clients closed, and target new revenue. Okay. Now this might change over time, right? So this is pretty basic when it comes to the data that you'll collect. You could go a lot deeper on this data, and as you continue to grow and as you collect more data, especially around your sales numbers, this is something that will expand. Okay. But if you haven't tracked sales numbers before and you're just now getting into it, this is a really good starting point for like good data that you should collect and that you should review on a regular basis. Now, of course, at a certain point, you'll probably want to know, like, hey, from our cold calls, how many people actually answered, right? There's a whole new level of data that we can collect from this, but it does take some time. It does take a little bit of system in order to collect all of that data. So for now, these are the ones that I would hit on that are kind of high level. Okay. So the first thing that we do, first 5 minutes, once again, we have to come prepared with this. Otherwise, this is going to take way longer than 5 minutes. If I have to go into my P&L, if I have to pull this information out and it's not pre-prepared for this meeting, this is going to take way longer than 5 minutes. But basically, we're just running through the numbers and just saying, hey, this is what we hit. This is where we ended up. These are the new projections. Okay. So little data review there. You guys can utilize that. After that, our next 30 minutes are segmented for the OPIP review. So this is our one-page impact plan review. So these are what we consider impact items. Other people might call them OKRs. Some sort of action item that is needed to accomplish over a 30-day window. Okay. Now we review the success of the previous 30 days. So over the last 5 minutes, we talk about everything that we got accomplished. Hey, in lead generation, we accomplished this, this, and this. Sales, we accomplished this, this, and this. Right. We still have to do this for sales. We didn't get this finished yet. Fulfillment, human resources, finance, right? We do all of that. And then after that, we reset our 30-day impact items and create new ones. And that's what takes a little bit longer because sometimes we have a little bit further discussion on it. And sometimes people need to bring ideas to the table. And we structure our next impact items for things like lead generation and marketing, sales, fulfillment, human resources, finance. And if you guys are unfamiliar with 30-day impact items, I actually did a training on this. It was one of my first ones I think I did. It was like one of the first three of the live streams that are inside of the Miro board, which if you've been attending this live stream for some time, you'll know that that Miro board has a lot of different information in there. So just go back if you're unfamiliar with how to set up your one-page impact plan or how to set up your impact items. You'll go back to that live stream and this will kind of guide you. But this is where we set them and then we transfer them over into our one-page impact plan. Okay. Now, what's great about this as well, as you set these objectives, as you set these action items for the month, once again, we can take that bullet point that will stack under here and we could turn it directly into a task. Okay. And then we could put a due date on it. Okay. So that will allow us to once again keep track of these things and make sure that we're actually hitting it by the date we say we hit it by and that we have someone responsible for it. So that's the one page impact plan review, impact items, OKRs, whatever you want to call them. Okay. After that, we do a little identify, discuss, and solve. If you guys aren't familiar with the book Traction, this comes from the book Traction. And this meeting template is very similar to something that they hold inside of their meeting structures. But I really like this structure of like, hey, we're going to talk about constraints, priorities. If we need to make edits to the one-page impact plan, right? If we need to have further discussion on specific items, this is kind of like an open forum discussion around anything around the business that we feel might need help, things that are going well, things that aren't going well, right? Open discussion there. And then after that, we do a client review. Really, we don't really cover anyone in the good status, right? We assume that if anyone that's not in neutral or bad status, churned, or needs a renewal, that is not something that we technically need to cover. So normally we're going to cover people that are in neutral status, people that are in a bad status, people that have churned. So we are aware of that and we can get them offboarded. And then needs renewal, any contracts that are coming up that need to be renewed in the next 30 days. Okay. And then once again, this is a long list here of clients, right? So this has to be pre-prepared. Okay. So we're going to drop those in there. That way we know. And then from there, we're going to talk about our conclusion of the meeting. Okay. Next steps, action items, make sure everyone knows who's doing what. And then we do a meeting evaluation and feedback at the end of the meeting to give everyone at the meeting time to give feedback for that meeting. Okay. So that is the monthly 60. That's with our full team. Everyone attends that one. We work together on pushing the action items forward. It's kind of nice to everyone be kept in the loop on each department of the agency or of the consultancy, right? That we could say, hey, this is what we're doing in lead gen. This is how it ties to sales. Sales, this is how it ties to fulfillment. Everyone gets to give some feedback and have a discussion during this meeting. Okay. Now, as our company grows and we have a few more employees, this will probably need to get segmented out. Eventually, we probably won't be able to hold everybody inside of this meeting, but there's a time and a place to run this at a department level instead of running this at a full team level. Okay. So just kind of keep that in mind. Boom. Adam said, such an effective meeting structure. Agreed. Let me know if you guys have questions on that. If you have questions, let me know. You can drop them in chat and I'll answer them. I've got two more meeting structures that I want to go through. The next one's going to be one-on-one meetings with direct reports. So for our one-on-one meetings with direct reports, relatively simple here. Exact same setup from the beginning, objectives for the meeting, and then our agenda is just a 7-point list here. So, performance feedback and discussion around goals and objectives. We review weekly and monthly KPIs relevant to their position and make sure that they are keeping up with those KPIs. From there, we talk about work related challenges and obstacles and how to overcome them if they're having any obstacles or if they're not hitting KPI. Feedback on the employee's work and suggested improvements, right? So, just an opportunity to give some more feedback on specific work, alignment on priorities, expectations, and goals, KPIs for the coming period. So we do this on a 2-week cadence with our team. Sometimes it's weekly. So when an employee first starts, it's on a weekly cadence, and then after that, it goes to every other week because sometimes after a full week, we just haven't made a ton of movement on things, so we move it to once every 2 weeks. Any training and coaching on relevant subjects related to the role, and then is there anything that we could be doing better as a manager to help them succeed? And then are there any issues, obstacles stopping them from being the best that they can be in this role? Is there anything that they specifically need help with? So just kind of once again giving them that open platform to have a discussion, to talk about things that they need, things that they're struggling with. Okay. Last question that we asked there. And then just remember the specific topics will depend on the individual employee and the goals of the meeting. But overall, the tone should be focused on open, transparent communication, fostering a positive working relationship. You don't want this to feel like a interrogation, right? They should feel like it's an open forum for opportunities, solve problems, and be open about challenges and issues that they might be having. So we want it to feel that way versus it being like just feedback and more of like a interrogation type feel. So definitely not what we want from our one-on-one meetings, but this agenda should keep it relatively open. That's how we've structured the questions, is to be able to have an open discussion and talk about things that we want them to work on. So that is our one-on-one meeting structure. Pretty straightforward there. All right, and we got one more. One more. Okay, this last one's our daily check-in. And our daily check-in, I know some people host like daily stand-ups. Not my favorite thing to do, unless it's for a sales team. Sales teams should probably have a daily stand-up, just because it's a very high performance position. There's a lot of check-ins that are needed. We want to make sure that our sales team is ready to rock and roll for the day. So would recommend doing a daily stand-up with the sales team, but everyone else on the team, we just have them check in with a daily check in. Okay. And this is kind of what the form looks like that they fill out every day. This is built inside of ClickUp. I've actually done this training before. And so if you guys want that training, all you have to do is click on this template here. It'll take you to the template, and you guys can copy and paste this template over and make some adjustments to it as you see fit. But we ask just a few questions here. One, just having them enter their name so we know who is submitting it. We talk about their energy level. So there's little batteries here, and they can have up to 5. Anything under 3, or anything 3 or under, we're gonna just reach out to that person, just be like, hey, how you feeling today? What can I get you? Can I get you an energy drink? Can we get you coffee? Right? Want to make sure that we check in on our team, especially if they're having a little bit lower energy than normal. For this next one here, it's did you finish yesterday's commitments? Why or why not? If they finished them, awesome. If they didn't, they kind of explain, hey, this is kind of what happened. Got distracted, had to take my dog to the vet. Whatever it is, they can leave that here in their comments. And then what are your commitments today? So we also call these projections of like, hey, what are we getting done today? What are you committing to today that you need to get done that you know you can finish? Right. So it might be if it's the content team. Hey, I'm gonna finish one reel on X, Y, and Z, and I'm going to finish 3 thumbnails for the next 3 live streams, right? That's a good commitment for the day because it's one has a physical value behind it that says there's a number that I have to hit. I have to hit 1 reel edited today, and I have to hit 3 thumbnails finished today. I'm going to get those uploaded, right? That's a good commitment. A bad commitment would be like, yeah, I'm just working on some reels or just working on some thumbnails. we want to have a physical number behind the commitment for the day. Whether it's sales team, whether it's content, whether it is fulfillment, there are specific tasks that they need to get done today. So we want to assign a value to it. So when the next day comes, we could say, hey, what did you work on yesterday? Right? What were commitments yesterday? Did they get done? Yes, I finished the reel, but I only got two of the three thumbnails done. Okay, cool. So we can follow up with this person and say, hey, what happened on the last one? Did you run out of time? Did you overestimate the amount of time it was going to take for a certain project? Right? We can get to the bottom of that relatively quick. And then from there, we have a quick tag here that says, do you have any barriers that would keep you from accomplishing your commitments today? And then there's a yes or a no. The yes signifies that they're ready to roll for the day. And then the no would signify, hey, I need someone to reach out to me. And so our team will reach out to them if they have barriers for that day. So once again, you guys can get that template here. If you just click on this, it will pull the template right into your ClickUp, and then you guys can have all of these meeting structures in here, the little meeting outline and some guidelines for your meetings, the basic internal meeting template, the monthly 60 template, and the one-on-one meeting with direct reports template. And then you have the bonus daily check-in as well. You could do this in a physical meeting, but once again, we're trying to eliminate the amount of meetings that we're having. So we always do a check-in via a form inside of our ClickUp, and then we set up notifications. We actually get a Slack message when someone fills out a form, so we can keep track of them. So hopefully that all makes sense. And boom, that's pretty much it today. That's the whole kit and caboodle. Um, any questions on that? I put out the live stream link way too late today, so probably not a ton of questions, but that's okay. But we can end early if we need to. It was a quick one today. I knew it was going to be fast but effective. So hopefully this all made sense to you guys. But I'll stick around for like 30 more seconds and see if you guys have any questions. I know sometimes those questions roll through. Questions, comments, concerns, epiphanies, takeaways. All good if not. All right, crew. Sounds good. If you guys are just tuning in, rewind, go back. Got some awesome agency templates for you guys. Oh, let me drop the template in place real fast. That way you guys have access to this because I think it's a private link right now. Let me get this over to you guys. Boom, there it is. So you guys can take that template, utilize it, bring it into your agency as needed. If you guys have questions on it, you know where to reach me. You can DM me on Instagram or Twitter. Felix, what's up, buddy? Hope you're doing well, man. So go back, check that out. Really good meeting structures. If you guys have questions on that, just let me know. Outside of that, that's all I got for you guys today. I appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll be back next week, next Thursday. Our topic will be, let me just double check real quick. We got redefining core values next week, how to craft meaningful principles for your business, something that I've been really diving deep into, especially for even our own team, is like just redefining some of our core values, going a little bit deeper and making them meaningful, and how to make them actually like sticky inside of your organization, that people actually follow them and they utilize them on a regular basis. So that's what we'll be chatting about next week. So hopefully you guys can tune in for that one. But that's all I got for you guys today. Be safe. Hope you guys are doing amazing. Hope you guys crush it this week. Land some great sales, close some clients. Let's go. Wait, Felix had a question. That's the whole outro. Does this work better for smaller or bigger agencies, or both? Both. This scale. So the structure that I learned this from was from one of my mentors that had an agency that was doing roughly 8 figures. I'm sorry, was doing over 8 figures per year. They were in the 9 figure range. I think their top line revenue is 455 million. So if it scales to that, it will scale probably with your agency as well, Felix. So definitely, definitely will scale with your agency. So, and we used it inside of our agency. We had about 20 at our peak 25 employees at our agency. So it worked then. And then we're utilizing it inside of our consultancy, which is only 7 currently, but it does work for that as well. Scalable, baby. That's right. All right, guys. I appreciate your time today. We will see you